Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to plunge right into the heart of some really compelling stories, insights from the sources you share with us.
That's right.
And today we're heading into a truly personal and, well, frankly, pretty profound exploration. It's about something that shapes all our lives, often without us even noticing.
Our limiting beliefs.
Exactly. Those unconscious patterns running deep. Think of them like invisible scripts, quietly directing your life story, often hiding just beneath the surface.
And this specific deep dive, it's a powerful one. It tracks one listener's journey, their relationship with money, with success, and, ultimately with their true self.
Okay.
We'll be using, let's call it a Jungian lens. It's a way to understand the unconscious mind, looking at deeper psychological energies.
Right.
So we'll explore these universal human patterns, what Jung called archetypes, the hero, the creator, that sort of thing. And also these emotionally charged clusters of ideas, memories, complexes. They often form around core life experiences.
Okay. Complexes, got it.
So our mission today really is to unpack how these hidden beliefs, maybe early experiences, even personal wiring, have shaped this person's path.
And importantly, how you listening might begin to shift a similar kind of ingrained story in your own life.
Precisely.
Okay, let's unpack this then. How do we even begin to spot these invisible scripts? I mean, they're invisible, right?
Right. Well, the source material gives us some good clues.
Yeah.
Like breadcrumbs your unconscious leaves for you.
Okay.
First up, repeated themes.
Yeah. Like, do you notice the same conflicts popping up again and again, maybe in relationships?
Or recurring feelings that I'm not good enough tape playing, or I always mess things up.
Or situations where you just feel stuck, like perpetually stuck no matter what you try.
Exactly. These repetitions, they're not random, they're clues. Big ones. Signaling an underlying pattern.
Makes sense. What else?
Well, tying into that, your inner dialogue.
The chatterbox in the head?
Yeah, that constant stream, the way you talk to yourself. It isn't necessarily fact. It's usually a belief, right? An assumption you've internalized somewhere along the way. And then there are the emotional triggers.
Oh, yeah. Those big reactions.
Strong ones: anger, fear, shame. They often mean a deeper wound or belief is being touched, being activated.
Okay, so looking at it from that Jungian angle you mentioned.
Right. Many limiting beliefs actually come from what Jung called the shadow.
The shadow, meaning?
Those parts of ourselves we've learned to repress or deny, maybe disown because they weren't acceptable somehow.
Okay.
Others might link back to those complexes we talked about, those internalized voices from parents or culture.
Right, the messages we pick up.
Exactly. And the point isn't to judge them as bad. It's about understanding them as these, invisible scripts running our lives until we make them conscious.
Until we see them.
Yeah. Which brings up a really powerful question from the sources for you listening to think about. What do I keep telling myself I can't do or must not be? And what would happen if I actually allowed myself to try?
Wow. That's a huge question. Really cuts to the core for a lot of us, I imagine.
It's an invitation, really, to self-discovery.
Okay, so let's zoom in now on our listener-specific pattern, this really complex relationship with money and success. They mentioned this feeling of emptiness, like a hollowness. Even though they were striving so hard for these things, it makes you wonder, what does money really symbolize here on that deeper level?
That's an excellent point. Because in Jungian terms, money, success, they're way more than just practical things. They're symbols, potent ones.
Symbols of what, though?
Well, for you, maybe security, self-worth, power, even just your basic life force energy, how it flows.
Okay.
So if there's a blockage around money, it could reflect, say, a fear of letting that energy flow freely, maybe tied to scarcity fears, or feeling you don't deserve abundance, not feeling enough.
Right, that not enough feeling again.
Exactly. And success, similarly, often connects to the hero archetype, that part of us that wants to strive, achieve, make a mark.
Yeah.
But that drive can get tangled up with other archetypes, like maybe the caregiver part wants to prioritize everyone else first, or the innocent part just wants safety and avoids risk. They can unconsciously hold you back.
Interesting.
And then there's the shadow side of it all.
Our secret fears about having money or success.
Precisely. Like, people will resent me, or I'll lose my freedom maybe. I don't actually deserve this. These things can lurk underneath, sabotaging our efforts.
And often these aren't even our fears, are they?
Very often, no. They're family and cultural complexes, old messages we absorb, like money is the root of all evil, or it's hard to get, or rich people are greedy. They form these inner scripts.
And our listeners' experience really echoes this. It's almost like a masterclass in how these things form.
How so?
Well, they were raised where money meant constant striving, this relentless effort, which led to that persistent feeling of emptiness. But what's really striking is they noticed their family sort of revered money, almost idolized it. But they never actually pursued it themselves. They had modest jobs, modest lives, no entrepreneurs there.
Right. That's a profound insight from the source material. And it really highlights something common.
What's that?
It suggests the listener might be carrying what we call an unlived archetype.
An unlived archetype.
Yeah. The family revered the idea of money and success, but they didn't embody it. They didn't live it out. And kids, they pick up on that unspoken tension. They inherit not just the values, but the unfinished story, the unfulfilled longing around money or success.
So the pattern comes less from what the parents did and more from what they wanted but never achieved.
Exactly. From what they longed for but never lived. And that makes the striving feel like this heavy burden, like you're chasing a ghost dream that wasn't even yours to begin with.
Wow.
The key insight there, really for everyone, is to constantly ask, whose dreams am I chasing? Are they truly mine? Or am I carrying someone else's unlived life, their unlived archetype?
That really puts a whole new spin on things. Makes you question your own ambitions, doesn't it?
It does.
Now, let's get into another critical piece of this listener's story. They mention never being praised for creativity, only for hard work, for earning. What does that imply about their inner self, about what was really valued when they were growing up?
Well, it powerfully shows how our core self can get pushed aside, right?
Yeah.
That lack of validation. It basically pushed the listener's creative side, let's call it the artist archetype, into the shadow.
Okay, hidden away.
Hidden away, yes.
Yeah.
And instead, the worker, or maybe the provider archetype, was the one reinforced, rewarded. And that directly explains why the money felt so empty later on. It was the past that got the external thumbs up, but it wasn't nourishing for their deeper creative self.
But the creativity didn't just vanish.
No, it persisted, which is really a testament to its strength, like a river finding a new course even when it's dammed up.
Okay, this next part of the story is, well, it's quite impactful. A really traumatic early experience. The listener left school at 15, had no clue what to do, and their parents forced them into a job they hated.
Forced them.
Yeah, with an ultimatum. Take this job, or you lose your home.
Oh, wow. That's intense.
And then to add insult to injury, their parents took about half of what they earned.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's incredibly heavy. A formative experience, absolutely. You have to acknowledge the impact of something like that.
Yeah.
This wasn't a choice. It was an initiation into work through, well, coercion.
Yeah.
Fear.
Right.
And it seeds these powerful unconscious beliefs, doesn't it? Like money means losing freedom, or work means exile from my true self.
And the money being taken.
That instills a deep sense of exploitation, betrayal maybe, feeling taken from, not supported.
So this core wound, it basically made work mean doing something you hate just for money, sacrificing your soul.
Precisely. That pattern, that complex, gets deeply ingrained. It becomes the blueprint for future experiences.
It makes you think, for anyone listening, what were your first encounters with earning, with responsibility? How did they shape your beliefs about work and worth?
It's a crucial question.
So it's no surprise someone with that origin story would feel trapped by work, right?
Not at all.
So the listener tried to escape. They spent 15 years building their own business wood carving machines, even invented the machines.
Okay, creative entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Sounds like freedom, right?
You'd think. But they described it as the worst time of my life, utterly trapped, stressed, depressed. Why? Why would self-employment lead right back into the same trap?
This is such a classic and painful example of the complex following you. Even when the outer circumstances completely change.
The pattern just replays.
It replays. The core beliefs suck. Work equals entrapment, loss of joy. Even with their own invention, their own business. The inner script ran the show.
So the creator part got forced back into being just a laborer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Burdened by repetition, pressure, instead of being free to innovate, explore. It really raises that question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If the outside changes, but the inside pattern stays the same.
Where does the real work need to happen?
Right. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the chains we feel are less about our situation and more about our internal programming.
And then there's this other crucial element we need to factor in, the listener's AuDHD wiring.
Ah, yes, autism and ADHD together.
Where repetition isn't just boring, it feels like actual suffocation. That explains so much.
Absolutely. This neurodivergent wiring, it just amplifies the struggle massively. You see this intense inner push-pull.
How so?
Well, the autistic wiring often craves stability, predictability, the satisfaction of building something reliable, maybe like a builder archetype.
Okay.
But the ADHD wiring seeks novelty, stimulation, fresh projects detecting, the explorer archetype.
So constant internal conflict.
Constant, intense conflict, and masking those needs for years, trying to fit into a world not built for that wiring. That leads to what we call neurodivergent burnout. When the brain just shuts down under stress, it's not failure. It's actually a profound protective mechanism. An enforced pause. The system basically saying, nope, can't do this anymore. This old way isn't sustainable.
It's a signal that the inner wiring and the outer demands are clashing hard.
A very real physical signal.
So the listener also talked about this lifelong hunting for success. They remembered an early prophecy. Someone told them they'd be rich. And they chased this relentlessly. But then when success finally came, it nearly destroyed them.
Right.
What do we make of that paradox, this prophecy becoming a trap?
It's deeply symbolic, isn't it? It's like the unconscious was screaming, the kind of success you were taught to want, that kind will cost you your soul.
So the prophecy wasn't helpful, it was misleading.
It became a trap, yeah. It kept the listener hunting outward instead of listening inward, chasing external validation that was ultimately empty, destructive, a mirage, really. Promised fulfillment, delivered exhaustion.
It's a potent lesson for all of us, isn't it? Discerning between a true inner calling and some external expectation we've just adopted.
Absolutely.
And this leads to this huge breakthrough the listener had recently. The realization that the ambition for money and success, it wasn't my ambition, it was the wants of a parent.
Boom. That's monumental, truly.
Yeah.
That's the profound insight. Realizing you've been living out a parental complex, an unlived life passed down, a desire projected onto the child.
And that realization, it must loosen the grip of feeling like a failure.
Totally. It shows the listener wasn't failing at their dream. They were, as they put it, exhausting yourself trying to live someone else's.
That's incredibly freeing.
Incredibly. And it leads to understanding that the core, self-curious, creative, free, actually survived all of that. It embodies that resilient, eternal child archetype.
The true ambition was always there, just buried.
Buried under layers of external expectations. And again, this isn't just about our listener. It's a reminder for everyone. Check in. Whose dreams are you chasing? Yours. Or hand me down.
So when the listener uncovers their true compass, it points towards excitement, making things, creating something new, then moving on.
Yeah, that explorer energy again.
But the struggle that pops up is, okay, but who is going to look after me whilst I'm playing?
Ah, yes.
Which really highlights that old wound, doesn't it? Being forced to provide too soon, too harshly.
Exactly. It reveals this deep longing for an inner father archetype.
Meaning?
A protective, grounding presence that essentially says, it's safe, I've got your back, go play, go create.
Okay.
And the listener identifies their actual father's qualities of kindness and generosity as what they need. Not his conformity, but his kindness.
That's the key.
That's the key. The missing piece is permission to be yourself without strings attached and finding the inner resources to make that feel safe.
So it dissolves those old voices saying, you should be working.
Right. Replaces them with an inner security that actually fosters authentic creation.
Yeah.
It's about building that internal safety net that was missing early on.
So embracing that inner kindness, that permission, letting go of the old scripts, what's the feeling that comes through then when you finally break free?
It's really compelling how the source describes this shift in the inner landscape. The feelings that emerge are, well, freedom.
Freedom.
A sense of flow, non-judgment, possibilities opening up, real joy, and ultimately peace.
Peace. Wow.
The pressure and that feeling of selling out, their name is the heaviest weights. And letting them go brings profound relief, which then gives rise to this powerful inner voice affirming, it's okay just to be yourself. It is safe. The universe will provide.
That's the complete opposite of the old story.
Complete antithesis, coercion and emptiness replaced by safety and provision.
That's a beautiful affirmation, a radical shift. And with this inner change, the listener feels like anything is possible.
Yeah.
Specifically, channeling creativity to help others or positively affect others through the things I create. And that led to a feeling that the circle was complete. That sounds significant.
Oh, hugely significant. The circle. It's one of Jung's most important symbols of the self.
Representing.
Unity, balance, completion, wholeness, peace. It's huge.
Okay. But then this brings up a really practical, pertinent question from the listener, and probably one many of us have, right? How do you live this way in a world that doesn't work this way? How do you navigate this authenticity in a, well, conventional world?
Right. That's where Jung's concept of synchronicity becomes incredibly relevant.
Synchronicity, meaningful coincidences.
Exactly. Those moments where the outer world seems to uncannily mirror our inner state. Jung famously told the story of his patient, remember, the one stuck in rigid rationality.
Vaguely. Something about a beetle.
Yes. She dreams of a golden scarab, an ancient symbol of rebirth. Yeah. And right then, an actual scarab-like beetle taps at the window.
Whoa.
It cracked her rational defenses wide open, allowing transformation. It shows how inner authenticity can be reflected somehow in outer events. Not like a magic trick, but a deeper resonance.
It's a resonance between your inner state and the world.
Between psyche and world, yeah. When you align with your true self, the universe can, in surprising ways, begin to align with you.
So it's not just wishing, it's an internal shift, creating a different resonance, a different reality almost.
In a way, yes. And you mentioned the idea of a cross to bear earlier.
Right, that tension the listener felt.
That lifelong tension, creativity versus survival, freedom versus duty, that is their cross to bear, in Jungian terms. But here's the thing. It's not there just to crush you.
Okay.
It's actually the raw material for your individuation.
Which is?
The lifelong process of becoming your whole unique self. Integrating all the parts, conscious and unconscious.
So carrying the cross consciously.
Yes. By understanding these inner conflicts, not just fighting them blindly, it transforms. It goes from being a heavyweight to being a source of meaning, of authenticity.
So the tension itself leads you forward.
It leads you toward the freedom you've always sought. It's about finding that balance point where your specific wiring, your AuDHD, your creative drive, your need for safety, they can all coexist, maybe even flourish.
You stop trying to force yourself into a mold.
And instead, you build a life that truly fits you.
Wow. What a profound journey we've tracked here. From those inherited burdens, the trauma, to this, well, radiant image of authenticity and peace.
That's huge.
And that realization that the chase for external success was never truly yours, that feels immense, like a path towards real integration, towards becoming yourself.
Absolutely. And remember, this breakdown of the old story, it isn't failure, it's the turning point. It makes space for a new, authentic story to emerge.
Right.
Your unique path, and this applies to anyone listening who resonates with this, it's about shaping a life where your creative, exploratory nature and your deep need for safety can finally meet.
Not in conflict anymore.
But in a profound dance.
Yeah.
Integrity and purpose. Your cross, it's not there to crush you. It's there to lead you into the freedom that was always yours, waiting to be claimed.
So the question left hanging is,
what new, authentic story will you begin to live now that you know you have the power and maybe the permission to write it?